Good early evening, everybody. Hope you guys are having a good Saturday so far. I want to talk about a little something that recently came out from PFF. First, though, just real quick here. By the time this video goes up, I should be live over on Twitch. Probably will be live for another hour or two. So if you want to hop on over there and watch me play the Dead Space remake, you can go ahead and do that. I will not be streaming tonight, like after dinner. But tonight you can go watch me stream for at least another couple of hours. And then tomorrow I should be streaming Dead Space throughout basically the entire NFC, AFC title game schedule. So hope to see you guys there tonight or tomorrow. And yeah, we're doing Dead Space Remake. I'm very impressed. I think the game is great so far. So I hope to see you over there. All right, so PFF recently released this chart. You probably already seen it if you're active on social media. It's on Twitter. I've seen it on Field Goals. I've seen it on a couple other sites as well. Basically, it is a chart depicting how often NFL offenses left their offensive tackles on islands in the entire 2022 season. So, what that basically means is, how often did they not give their offensive tackles help? Like, I think we all understand that sometimes an offensive tackle, when they're going up against their defensive end or edge rusher or whatever, the offense will make sure, hey, we're going to have a running back go over to that side and he's going to throw a chip block. He's going to help block this guy because you're going up against somebody who's really good. You're going up against Bosa, one of the Bosas. You're going up against Micah Parsons. You're going up against one of the elite pass rushers in the NFL. And sometimes there's a tight end who will serve a similar purpose. Sometimes the tight end will actually stay in and block. Sometimes it'll just be for a couple seconds. Sometimes it'll be for the whole play. But the point is, the team looks at a particular matchup with their offensive tackle and goes, hey, I don't know if this guy can hold up one-on-one. And obviously things are situational, like on an obvious passing down, when the pass rusher knows, hey, I don't have to worry about them running the ball. I can just go get the quarterback. If that's the case, then it's more likely that the team is going to help. But this is basically a measure of how often each team did it. And you may notice the Seattle Seahawks are right near the top. By top, I mean rarest. They are third most likely in the NFL to leave their tackles on islands. Watching football this year, I got the sense that they were leaving their tackles on islands a lot in 2022. But this is something that basically confirms that. It's like a confirmation that, hey, the thing that you thought you were seeing is the case. Now, one thing I should point out is there isn't a massive difference between the top and the bottom here. You can see the team that left their offensive tackles on islands the most, by far actually, was the Eagles. They're at a little below 75%, so call it like 74% it looks like. The Dolphins are the lowest by a pretty good margin, and they're at around like 53, 54%. So the difference between the top and the bottom is only about 20%. So it's not like one team is doing it 99% of the time and another team is doing it like 4% of the time. And by the way, those two extreme outliers, the Eagles and Dolphins, you take them out and you go to like the second most and second fewest. The difference there is like you've got the Buccaneers who are at about 67%. And then you've got the Raiders who are at about 57%. So the difference is only 10% between the second most and second fewest. But over the course of a full season of dropbacks as a quarterback, think about what you're dealing with there. You are dealing with over 100 plays still, probably 60 or so dropbacks overall. So there is a significant difference between even the second most and second fewest. It ends up being about 60 dropbacks over the course of a season, so maybe you're looking at about 4 dropbacks a game where the tackles have help versus when they don't. And remember, a big part of the equation of when offensive tackles get help is the situation. You're not going to give an offensive tackle as much help on like 2nd and 4 because it could be a rundown, or 1st and 10, but you're probably going to give him help on 3rd and 8 because everybody knows it's going to be a passing down. Now, here's the interesting thing about this, and this kind of goes without saying, but I just want to go over this real quick here. The Eagles leaving their offensive tackles on islands at a super high rate makes all the sense in the world, right? You go over to PFF, you look at the Eagles' offensive line, their tackles. They've got Jordan Maitala on one side. He's one of the better offensive tackles in the league, and he played basically the whole season, Jordan Maitala. And they also have the future Hall of Famer, I think, Lane Johnson, who also played over 1,000 snaps. And his pass block grade was incredibly high. So the Eagles leaving their offensive tackles on islands a lot makes a ton of sense. Those guys are super elite. They're established in this league. It makes sense to have maximum trust. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, admittedly, you look at their left tackle, Donovan Smith, he's graded okay, like passable. However, the reason why his grade is low is because his run blocking is atrocious. His pass block grade is actually good. His pass block grade is 71. So this is a very solid pass protector, very capable pass protector, who just really has a problem with run blocking and also penalties, I guess. But yeah, Donovan Smith is a good pass protector, so leaving him on an island on passing downs makes sense. And their right tackle is Tristan Wirfs, who has had an excellent career so far. He's graded out very well every year he's played, and he's one of the better pass protectors in the entire NFL at any position. So it makes sense that the Buccaneers would do this. And then you have the Indianapolis Colts. Now, understand, the Colts were terrible this year. They're picking in the top 5 for a reason, but you look at their tackles, kind of makes sense. Bernhard Raimann had a really solid rookie year. He was in the top 3rd of all tackles in the NFL by grade. Pass block grade solid, about 71.5. And overall, we're talking about a pretty solid player here. He did miss a handful of snaps over the course of the early part of the season, but as the year went on, he ended up playing basically the whole second half and a little bit in the first half, and you had a player who played most of the season. And then on the other side, you've got Braden Smith, who also had a solid year, 75.5, and he's been a very good player over the course of his career. He played over 1,000 snaps. So these guys, with the exception of Bernhard Raimann, are established, really good pass protectors. So it makes sense that they would trust those guys on islands. The Seahawks, need I remind you, were apparently the first team in decades. The first team in decades. Maybe it was the first team ever to go, we're going to intentionally start rookies at both left tackle and right tackle. So I look at that and I go, how is it that the Seahawks belong up there? The Eagles have a future Hall of Famer and an elite left tackle. The Buccaneers have a really good pass protecting left tackle and an elite right tackle. The Colts, they've got a lot going on there too. I mean, they have a rookie at left tackle, but he was a really good rookie, and they also have the very solid, very established right tackle over there. The Seahawks had 2 rookies, one of whom was 21 years old when the season started. So what are they doing up here? How are they doing this good compared to other teams? And by the way, the other thing to notice, the 4 teams still alive in the playoffs right now, all ranked in the top, I believe, 10 on this chart. At least top 12. Let's count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, 12. You can see that all the teams that are still left, they use it at least on an above average level. And of course, the Eagles, who I think right now should be the favorite to win the Super Bowl, they do it way more than anyone else. It's not even close. Look at this. So what I'm trying to say is that when you're evaluating guys like Charles Cross and Abraham Lucas on the year, I think that it would be fair to say that Lucas played good. Not really good, not great, not elite, but he was good. And Charles Cross was like above average. Now, Charles Cross's position is harder because he's the blindside blocker, he's the left tackle. But if you were to just take their performances in a vacuum, I think Lucas is good. Cross is above average. Now, Cross played more. Cross played, I think, every snap. Maybe he missed 2 garbage time snaps that didn't matter at all. And Lucas missed a game and a half, so I understand that's also part of the equation. But look at the degree of difficulty we put on these guys. Their first ever NFL action. Charles Cross playing at an age when most players don't start from week 1. 21 years old, he's starting week 1 dealing with guys like Bradley Chubb. And these are the results. They leave them out on islands, and I have to say, while they didn't play elite, they did their job. So, number one, consider that. Consider that degree of difficulty when you're evaluating those 2 players, Cross and Lucas. Consider the fact that they didn't get the help that a lot of other tackles are getting on things like obvious passing downs. There are a ton of teams to the left of the Seahawks on this chart that gave their tackles more help. And consider where this is going, because both guys should get significantly better in the next 2 years here. So when we're evaluating the Seattle Seahawks rookie tackles, I think we're all pretty excited. I think this should make us more excited, honestly. We put them to the test. We did not make it easy for them, and they did well. They did well. So that's what I want to go over in this video today. If you were already excited about this tackle tandem we have with Cross and Lucas, you should get more excited, I think. This tells me that we made the degree of difficulty high for those 2 guys, and they passed. They passed with, I'm not going to say flying colors, but they were definitely positive influences on the team in 2022. All right, I'll see you guys later. Hope to see you on Twitch today and tomorrow. Go Hawks. Cross and Lucas, good job.